Whatever do you mean, spoiler alert? Oh, a good point. My friend here says that if you have not yet watched episode 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi currently streaming on Disney+, that you should go and do so before you listen to the rest of this podcast. I have no idea why they wouldn't have watched it already either. Sometimes humans can be a little bit confusing.
Ah, there you are.
I was beginning to think you weren't coming, Master.
The third sister is here.
I am not interested in civilities. Where is he? Kneel. Grand Inquisitor. Set a course, Captain. We leave for Jabim at once.
My lord, we're approaching Jabim.
Lock down the facility. It is not them we need to break.
A Jedi's goal is to defend life, not take it.
Mercy doesn't defeat an enemy, Master. Why, you're gonna lose!
Tell her to stand down.
My lord.
Kenobi is already ours.
There's no way out, Master. Admit you are beaten. Your weapon's gone. It's over.
Where is he?
I have him secured inside, my lord.
I will bring him in myself. He was wise to use you against me. Did you really believe I did not see it, youngling? You are of no further use.
Goodbye, Grand Inquisitor.
The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Solo Show sent you. Let's get ready for round 2 of the Battle on Kenobi. In this corner, dressed all in black, you know her as the third sister who doesn't blister, Reva. And in the opposite corner, also wearing all black, the Sith who doesn't miss, Anakin Skywalker himself, Darth Vader. And now, for the thousands of people listening at home and the millions watching throughout the galaxy, Let's get ready for Jabbin' on Jabin! Introducing your referee for tonight. He's tough, but he might season up pretty good if you cook him a little longer. Here's Stan Solo!
There's a hunger for this character to come back. The fans have been waiting long enough, you know?
Something that's extremely exciting is the return of obviously Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is quite a dark time that we're coming into with him. Just being a Jedi, it's not safe. There's Jedi hunters out there.
At least he has this one task left, which is to keep Luke safe.
That's definitely a starting place for our story. The interesting thing is going to be where it goes from there.
The most beautiful thing of all is that it's brought me back together with Hayden.
We are bringing back Hayden Christensen to reprise the role of Darth Vader. We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi without addressing Anakin or Vader.
Have another swing at each other. It might be quite satisfying for everybody. We hope that you enjoy it as much as we enjoy making it.
The path will protect us. Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. Today we're doing Obi-Wan Kenobi Chapter 5, and if you have not watched Chapter 5, then you may want to pause, because we're going to go heavy into spoilers right off the hop. And if you don't care about spoilers, then just keep listening. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Alrighty, joining us today, we got Food Fairy Chris. Hello, Chris, and how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am amazing, but you already knew that.
Yes, I did.
Also joining us is Mission Commander Justin. How are you?
I am spectacular as always.
Jedi Scott. The Cavs won yesterday. You had the Force with you.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Right on. And you went to that game, eh?
Yeah, we went. It was pretty fun. It was electric.
Yeah, it was a good game. And my very own voiceover guy, Ken. He works for Poutine. How are you today, my friend?
Stan, if I was any happier, I'd be unconscious.
Right on. I wasn't able to make it last week. I do want to touch a little bit about Chapter 4 or Part 4. I thought they were calling them chapters, but they're calling them parts. Did they change that?
I think they've been calling them parts. We've been calling them chapters because I think Mandalorian, were all chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been calling them chapters. It took 5 of them before I realized they were called chapters. Anyways, Part 5. Okay, so Leia with the whole Obi-Wan and Ben Kenobi. So she knows him, little Leia, as I like to call her now, as opposed to baby Leia. She knows him as Ben Kenobi.
Yep.
Right. So Rava comes in and she tells little Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead. He can't help you. She tells him that in Part 4. Now, when she sends out her distress signal in A New Hope, she sends this.
Let's see if we can't figure out what you are, my little friend. And where you come from.
I saw part of the message.
I seem to have found it.
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone War. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
All right. Chris, what do you think?
I think that as she got older, she was made aware of Obi-Wan Kenobi being Ben, that it was the same person. So I think because she was older and she referred to him as General Kenobi, which he was at a time, that she, as an adult, as a teenage adult, she was referring to him as his proper name. That's kind of the way I thought about it.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Scott, what are your thoughts?
No, I kind of agree with that sentiment on there. Yes, I think she was calling him General Kenobi, but I think she knew him as the same person as Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay, so now when we get to Luke rescuing her, this happens.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
You're who?
I'm here to rescue you. I've got your R2 unit. I'm here with Ben Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi, where is he?
Come on.
So she seems shocked that Ben Kenobi's there. So am I missing something here, Scott or Justin? What are your thoughts here?
Well, I don't think she was expecting the robot to be there either. She wasn't expecting R2 or Ben to be there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I guess they're all supposed to be.
It's like when she heard that Ben was there. Now she's excited. Hey, maybe an actual rescue is going to happen because I don't know this Luke guy.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Voiceover Ken, what do you think is happening here? Is she so it's interchangeable to her? Is what kind of like it is for us?
I think, well, you got to think too in the Clone Wars. I mean, I know this is all way before they ever made the Clone Wars cartoon, but in the Clone Wars, they pretty much always refer to Kenobi as General Kenobi. All the clones do, and pretty much everybody when they interact with Ben is always General Kenobi. My personal opinion is I think Ben Kenobi was probably his name before he became a Jedi, was his birth name, his childhood name. And because he talks in the series about having had a brother when he was, very young and that sort of thing. And I think Obi-Wan is his knighthood name, for lack of a better term. If you think about like Lancelot or some of the other knights of the Round Table, they have the very different references. And I think that Obi-Wan is the Jedi name that he was given.
Okay, but Anakin becomes a Jedi and he still remains Anakin.
Well, but remember, Anakin actually never does become a Jedi Master.
Not a master, no, but he's.
And I think because Jedi. he was never given a Jedi name. I think
like Qui-Gon.
Like Qui-Gon, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
but Yoda does give him the title of Jedi. He said, "But we're not going to make you a master," and that's kind of part of the thing that freaks him out is how can I be a Jedi and not be a master? He starts whining.
But, the other maybe because he can't. Like Obi-Wan said when he was taken from his family really young, and he has glimpses of remembering his family, so he had to be really, really young. Where Anakin was a little bit older, and even they said he's too old to train when they first brought him.
Yeah.
So he remembers his mother like crazy. And I think that's part of that issue that he was, he came into the picture so late of this Jedi training.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's move along. I'm just curious about how this thing. I think Leia kind of views Obi-Wan and Ben the same way we view Obi-Wan and Ben. In that we can almost interchangeably use the name and we know who we're talking about.
Right.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. Alrighty, let's get into chapter 5 or part 5. We start with a flashback from I guess it's before episode 2. This flashback.
I would think probably just by the look of the way they had Anakin, he still had his Padawan's tail. He was still wearing his Padawan robes. I think it's probably supposed to.
Still had his hand.
He still had his hand. Exactly.
Two hands.
Yeah.
I have to interrupt you just for a second. That opening scene with that flashback was stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more.
I think a Book of Boba Fett should watch this and take notes on, because this is how you do a flashback and why you do a flashback.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
This flashback then ties into the present day story. I mean, in very specific ways all throughout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, for people that are listening,
makes sense.
Hang on, Scott. I'll get right to you, Scott. That's why I say for people that are listening, that was one of Justin's biggest complaints. Well, not so much a complaint, but you kept saying, "Well, we're getting these flashbacks. They'll tie in eventually to the story that we're currently watching." They never did. They never did. The
No, they never did.
Tie in at all.
Which is why by the end, I was saying they should have just, if they weren't going to do that, that they shouldn't have presented that content as flashback.
Yeah.
They should have just given us all of this content in chronological order.
Yeah.
And it would have made more sense.
What were you going to say?
Well, and I think this makes perfect sense now why they brought Hayden Christensen in it, because everybody kind of complained, well, he's behind the mask and you don't really get to see him. You see him all scarred up in the back of tank, and well, now he's in a perfect flashback scene and all that.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah.
No.
And he finally gets a chance to act this role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some
CGI work done on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they used that de-aging program on him.
Yeah.
Well,
there's actually a video I saw.
I'm not sure how much they used though, because he still looked a little too old.
Yeah, he did a little bit.
There is a video on YouTube. I actually just watched it last night. They were talking with the effects company that did the de-aging program, and they said they didn't want to go really deep with the de-aging. I guess they were a little concerned that it would take too much away from his performance. Maybe when they do the really heavy de-aging, I don't know if it maybe makes the skin look more plastic and that sort of thing.
Facial expressions aren't there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they thought
like the mouth in particular is very difficult for the computers to generate realistically. So the mouth and the eyes, I mean, you really do lose a lot of the expressiveness.
Right. Yeah. And I think they did want to focus more on Hayden Christensen's performance in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially since he was doing such a great job of kind of recreating that character.
Yes.
Yeah. It's easy to do bad acting over and over again. Did anybody recognize the room that they were practicing in? Where have we seen that before?
It looked to me like the balcony when they were on Naboo after he married Amidala, or where he married Amidala. Maybe I'm wrong.
Nope.
No, that was the beginning of the opening scene of episode
Same
1.
place we saw those younglings.
Yeah, part 1.
Yeah.
In part 1.
Very first scene in part 1, the training room where the younglings were training.
Right.
That's the training room at the Jedi Temple, I guess, with a beautiful balcony view. So the entire city can watch the Jedi training.
Yeah, it's just that one was at night, and then this one was during the day.
Yeah. I don't want to go too much on the flashbacks going forward. I think we covered them. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with the flashbacks?
Well, the only thing I noticed about that I liked about that flashback is the foreshadowing of everything that comes later on. It basically tells you everything that's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out, it seems like both Vader and Obi-Wan are having the same flashback. They're almost sharing this memory.
Yeah.
It did edit that way for sure.
Yeah.
That they were kind of
because they would cut from Vader to this flashback, and then later they'd cut from Obi-Wan to
and
this.
I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when they were doing each of them seeing these flashbacks, the one was the aggressor and the other one was on the defense. When you look at both sides, I noticed it, and then I watched something or listened to something, and they said the exact same thing, and I'm like, "Ooh, I wasn't imagining that."
Yeah,
that's cool.
And the other thing I wanted to point out before we go on is the fact that this episode was written by Andrew Stanton and not Joby Harold. And you can kind of see the difference between their writing abilities or their writing techniques. Yeah. This one was very different to me. And I think because a lot of it was a little, even though there was some majorly intense things, there was some softer parts to it. So I didn't know that, and then there's another thing that I read that it was written by Andrew Stanton instead of Joby, and I'm like, ooh, okay, that's why it's a little bit different. So.
And of course, Andrew Stanton has written things for like Pixar, like Finding Nemo and some of these others.
Right.
Yeah. So we cut to Vader sitting on his deck, staring into space. That seems to be his favorite thing to do.
It does.
Yes.
I'd like somebody to put together a YouTube video of all the times we've seen Vader and or Palpatine together, just looking into space in silence. Like, I admire my reflection with the stars over top. So anyway, so the third sister has an audience with Vader on his Star Destroyer, and she says, you know, the tracker says that Kenobi's on Jabim.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Jim Beam.
Well.
Vader tells her to kneel, which is kind of like how does she not know she's supposed to not do that yet, or supposed to do that yet? I mean, like, isn't that a such thing as to kneel in front of your? Vader does it all the time.
Well, and I think that reason why he told her that because he was essentially going to promote her to the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but she also hesitates a moment because it's like, this doesn't always end well.
Yeah,
exactly. You're gonna cut my head off here, or... Yeah. So he gives her her Grand Inquisitor pin. Are they selling those at Galaxy's Edge yet?
They should be.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
Come and see a cart near you. Yes.
yeah, exactly. To a Coke cart. So Vader and the gang go to Jabim, or Jim Beam, and our heroes land on Jabin, and our old friend Haja is there.
Yep.
And he's now wanted by the Empire. He feels like a real Jedi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
and the mother and kid that he helped was in the scene too. They show up at one point, kind of in the background. So I thought that was a nice touch.
So at this point in the story, so we have Tala, the ex-Imperial officer. We have Haja, the Jedi fake
impersonator.
Jedi impersonator.
And Roken, who I guess flies the ship, and he's helping them out. And I'm thinking to myself, we're going to see these three in Andor. Like, they're going to be the rebels. That's going to be the bridge between Kenobi and Andor, is what my thought process was. I guess I was wrong about Tala.
Yeah. If Jason was here, he'd make. I could make the joke about how they keep killing Susie. But
So anyways, do you guys agree with me with that? Do you think we're going to see Roken and Haja in Andor?
It's possible.
I would like to see Haja more. I mean, he seems like he has a lot of potential to be an interesting character. As he's trying to be a good guy, but is also a con man. And
and those two kind of yin yang off each other. I think eventually I could see them being kind of like you know what I mean? Like one's one way and one's the complete opposite almost, but you have the same goal.
It's kind of like the Abbott and Costello of the Star Wars universe.
There you go.
Yeah. So as they're landing, I'm thinking to myself, why are they not going to Alderaan? Like, what are they doing this pit stop in Hajim first? And we find out they have to stop and pick up these people that are been there for a long time and starving to death and going to get, on the path, because the path will protect them.
Well, that being said, though, too, I agree with why don't they take them to Alderaan? Because the main focus is right there with Ben and Leia. Figure you drop them off, and they're probably in clear sailing again, staying under the radar.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't know why they didn't just everybody quick get in the ship. We're scooting out of here now. Instead, they wait until Vader comes and they close the Sky Dome.
What was he doing? Like some repairs on the ship or something before they go? And they mentioned something too about having a narrow window of opportunity with the trade routes.
Right, and it's closing soon. We have to get going. Was basically what they were saying. So step on it, people. Like, start getting
exactly. So you're just sort of sitting there yelling at the screen. Just leave behind the extra carry-on bag. You got to pay for it anyway.
Yeah. So this next scene, this kind of bothered me. How Vader tells Rava to lock them in there, trap them in there. While they're in hyperspace, she's able to communicate with Lola, this little droid who only has a restraining bolt on it, somehow, to tell it to go into this room. And that door opens up for Lala. Was it Lala? Layla? What's the name of it? Lola. Yeah, so that door opens up like it's like it has like a handicap door opening for Lola to get in. And later on, when Leia does it, she has to physically open the door. I thought that was kind of like those little things irk me. Like, either don't have the door or have it open up automatically.
Yeah.
Don't have it sometimes open and sometimes not. Anyways, I thought that was very bad or lazy writing to be able to communicate to Lola while in hyperspace via restraining bolt.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen that before.
That's specific of an instruction as well.
Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, so Lola goes and closes the Sky Dome roof. So they're trapped in there like rats, and that's all they can do. There's another flashback after that. So Ben comes up with a plan to hold off the Empire while they're waiting to try to get the roof open. Again, just you got a starship, blast the roof open. You got
that kind of firepower. How big of a door is it? Can they just like punch their way through it with the spaceship? I mean, I don't know.
Well, they got two of them there, and obviously they didn't need both of them because they're planning on leaving one behind. We find out later. Smash through one with one, and then use the other one to escape. Like, I could have came with a better plan in 2 seconds.
Well, the other thing that kind of struck me funny was when they, were going to try to work on the thing to open the door, and Ben says, "How much time do you need?" And the guy goes, 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, you have one."
Yeah.
Like, they got to get out of there like right now, but he's going to spend 3 or 4 hours trying to fix the thing.
Well, that's every boss is like that. Whenever I give an assignment, they ask me how long it's going to take me. I always add a couple extra hours because the boss is going to cut off 2 hours.
Exactly. Did anybody other than me have kind of a Captain Kirk moment there? I know I'm being blasphemous here, but I mean, that was kind of like, Captain Kirk saying to Scotty, "You've got 1 hour."
Yeah. You didn't tell him how long it's really going to take, did you?
Exactly.
So the Empire sends out a couple of shuttles with a couple of dozen stormtroopers, and we get the Rocky montage of them. Everybody has to chip in, so they use 5 people to lock the doors, and the rest of the people just kind of run around.
Yeah,
doing nothing. It was they didn't set up barricades or anything. They all just kind of just ran around screaming. I don't know.
Yeah, grab your things. Let's go, people. Go, go, go.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, or even at the very least, put everybody inside the ship, turn the ship and aim the guns. So when the stormtroopers come in, you just shoot them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would have been good.
Yeah. So Leia says, "I need a ladder. Give me a ladder. I'll do it." Somehow she knows how to do this. She's good.
Yeah, that's some pretty complicated repair work for a 10-year-old who spends most of her time running around in the forest.
She's a Skywalker. Yeah. Look at her father built a robot out of nothing. So
yeah. Anakin came in and go, "When I was your age, I made C-3PO." You can't even.
That's right.
Yeah, you can figure out the plugs. So Ben gets a message from Bail Organa. And he's worried about the silence. He says,
"Okay,
I know we're not supposed to talk."
I have to say, this is the dumbest thing of all of this. This is dumb with a capital dumb.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yep.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Okay, I know we're supposed to maintain radio silence, but here's a message containing all of the secrets we're trying to keep.
And then he doesn't erase it.
Yeah, exactly. He might as well have said Darth Vader's son is on Tatooine and Owen has him, so I'm going to go make sure he's okay. And not only that, okay, so Ben knows that Vader knows Kenobi's there. Kenobi knows that Vader knows about Leia, or that Rava knows about Leia. There's no reason to keep silence anymore. There was no reason at all why Obi-Wan couldn't have contacted Jimmy Smits,
Bail Organa,
and say, No, hang on. We're still coming. There's no reason at all why he had to keep the silence at that point. He could have easily responded to him and called him up. And the other thing too is, I'll get to that later. But yeah, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous, that whole scene.
Yeah, that whole thing is so out of character. I mean, because we know Bail Organa. Okay, he's like founding member of the rebellion. He doesn't know how to spy.
Yeah.
Well, like Chris said, why don't you just erase the message when you're done? It needs to be Mission Impossible. As soon as you hear it, it disintegrates.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Or at least have a password on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. You buy a cheap phone from anywhere. You got to at least put your thumbprint on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Although in this universe, anytime you want a piece of technology to do something, you blow it up. You shoot it, and it does what you want it to do. If it's whether it's open the door or close the door.
So we get a little bit of the backstory of Tala, how she was an imperial officer and she didn't agree with what they were doing. Basically, she's Schindler's List. She's Oscar Schindler is basically her storyline. And now I'm thinking, oh, she's going to be huge in Endor. She's going to be such a big part. That's what I'm thinking.
Both her and Ned B. We need that robot there as well.
Yeah, that was a quick little story.
Yeah, it's a done deal.
Yeah, so that was kind of like the Lando and his robot partnership there, eh? So the third sister comes down. That reminded me an awful lot of the Mandalorian. What was it, the final episode of part one or of season 1? How the stormtroopers kind of were all lined up and
in front of the big door. Well, I guess the big window.
Yeah. But he came down and the stormtroopers kind of moved out of the way, and I like how the Empire does that type of stuff. So they start. She uses those blaster cannons a couple of times, and they're getting through. And so does Ben reach out to her to get her to talk through the door? Is that what happens?
Well, no. So he sent a message out through somebody because that one black stormtrooper goes up to her and says something. So somebody got the message out to them, and then that's when she went to the door.
Yeah, so they're talking through the door, and we kind of get her history. And it turns out it was exactly what we all thought, that very first youngling that we saw in the very first episode and the very first second was Rava.
That part makes sense to me, but I still don't understand how she knows Vader is Anakin. I mean, yes, she saw Anakin turn evil, but he wasn't Darth Vader then.
Right.
He didn't become Darth Vader with the mask and everything until much later, after being burned to smithereens on Mustafar.
Well, he is Darth Vader, but he's not Darth Vader behind the mask. Like he's not the masked Vader at that time.
Yeah.
Like when he kills the younglings.
He also wasn't going around going, "Hey, I'm Darth Vader," before he starts killing people.
And breathing real heavily.
So even if he had changed his name at that point, there's no reason for her to know him by anything other than Anakin.
And I have a question for you guys, all of you. Tell me what you think. Now, the way that they showed that scene with her remembering this and the pain in her face, did he stab her with the lightsaber at that time when he was Anakin?
Yeah,
that's what I couldn't figure out either. Like I went back and rewound it 3-4
I think
times.
he did.
Yeah,
I think so.
He
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
They didn't actually show him physically connecting with any of the younglings because, I mean, let's face it, that would be pretty hard to watch.
Right.
But you do see him going in and he just starts swinging the saber and he's made contact with a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he stabbed her, which again is kind of foreshadowing for what comes next,
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she was stabbed, and so whatever repair work she got done, if she got like the Fennec Shand sort of thing, she might be able to survive this one now as well because of that.
She found.
No, I guess the question is why her? Like there was probably 20 younglings, 25 younglings that he slaughtered.
Yep.
Why her?
She was the only one that lived, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just that simple.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't an instant kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, she said she played dead and she felt the body getting cold and hard and all that. I mean, like, it's not like Anakin stuck around. He took off to Mustafar.
He took off right away.
Yeah. So anyway, so Rava cuts the door open, and I was wondering why didn't she do this in the very? As soon as I saw that door close, I immediately thought, well, she's just going to use her lightsaber to cut it open. And I think it's because the Sith like to prey on fear, and I think it's more scary to have the cannon shooting the door and the people inside getting scared than it is for her to just go and cut the door open and it open up. But I love that scene where Kenobi force pushes her.
Yeah.
That was and all the stormtroopers move out of the way. That was like my favorite shot.
That was very cool.
Yeah. Speaking of those stormtroopers, half of those guys wouldn't make it into the 501st the way those costumes were
no
fitting.
Way.
No kidding.
They were going down like flies, right?
Well, no, I mean, there's huge gaps between the armor. Like they weren't properly fitting. There was a big guy and he had skinny armor that didn't quite fit. And there was the tall guys with shorty armor. It looked bad. Those stormtroopers did not look. I'm going back to episode New Hope bad.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, you got to remember though too, when like with Boba Fett, they got some of the not Boba Fett, but Mandalorian, they got some of the 501st on there. I'm wondering if a lot of this had to do with COVID and all that, and trying to, getting the 501st to come do that with all the travel restrictions and just restrictions in general. And they probably had to use what they had. Because this was probably filmed right in the peak of COVID.
Good
yeah.
thought.
Who knows how many of those people in those costumes were actually just pulled off of, hey, you're not running lights at the moment. Get in this costume.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were ill-fitting costumes. Those
you didn't know this, but the skinny guy was John Williams, actually.
So there's a big gunfight between the people that are trying to escape and the stormtroopers. I mean, if you got thermal detonators, start throwing those at the stormtroopers. Like, what the heck?
Really?
Really, that's I think, like you were saying, the one scene that really bothered you. That was the one that bothered me. I'm sitting there looking, and she pulls out the thermal detonator. I go, "You had this the whole time?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just flick the switch and start firing?"
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, listen, I got this. You guys go ahead and load up. Don't forget to pack the Cheetos, and I'll take care of the stormtroopers.
Yeah. I'm going to close the door and throw this in just as it's closing.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I know. It was just that was kind of poorly done. And again, why are they standing? Like, get into the ship, turn the ship around, and aim the guns at the stormtroopers.
Well, then we wouldn't have
would
a
get
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing too, it seems
there's
like
a lot of that in this particular episode, isn't there?
And the other thing too that kind of irked me was the amount of stormtroopers that there were, because it wasn't a lot. It was like 3 dozen, and like 2 dozen die, and at the end they still had 3 dozen. Like, what type of math were they using here? Maybe the armor does work. I don't know. Anyways, so Tala gets hit. And she sacrifices herself by using a Coke bottle. I mean, a thermal detonator.
And Ned B shields her at the end too, as he's.
Yeah. So, anyways, so Ben escapes, and Leia manages to get the Sky Dome open, and they're free. They're flying away, and then Vader uses the Force to pull back. That
is the coolest scene I have seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
That
agreed.
was intense.
My favorite moment of this series so far.
Saw his power.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Not just holding it back, but then like slamming it down and ripping it open and
just making scrap metal out of that chip. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, exactly, and that's what foreshadowing doing when he was having the flashbacks and Ben telling Anakin, it's not more than just winning; it's about the other things too. And Vader was there just ready to destroy him. Lo and behold, there was a ship right behind it. And Ben knew it.
And he ripped that one apart, boy. I mean, that thing was like in shreds.
Like we've talked before, this is what we want Vader to be.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you wonder why he didn't do that in Empire when they were escaping on the Falcon. Because they took off, he just stood there shaking his fist at him. Which I thought he was going to do, because they were taking off and you see him raise his hand. I thought, oh no, he's going to literally shake his fist at him. But no, he used the Force. For a split second there, I thought he was going to literally shake his fist at him.
Not again.
And that was a dummy ship for some reason. And they had the real ship in behind that they took off on. So who was flying this dummy ship?
I don't know. I'm hoping it was like a droid or something.
Hoping it was remote, or it was a droid or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think part of it though is that the little ship they took. I mean, he says later on that the hyperdrive isn't working on that one. So I think the original plan had been to take that big ship. And so Ben basically convinced them to take the smaller ship.
But don't you think that would have been a good fact to maybe drop if that was the new plan? Somebody should say, "Oh, hey, listen, maybe let's not take that one. Let's use the other one as a decoy, because this one, the hyperdrive, is kind of twitchy,
It's not really working."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why wouldn't you use the one with the good hyperdrive for your real ship?
Yeah, I don't know. But
it's because the other ship was hiding behind it.
Yeah.
And everybody knows if the hyperdrive isn't working, you just bang on the door jamb. And
hello, come on.
Hey, maybe this is where we get introduced to Han Solo. He's on the ship and says, "Hey, let's just bang it."
Yeah, it could be. So they escape. Do we know where they're going?
Alderaan?
Hopefully.
Well, they're going down the path, wherever the path takes them.
Mm-hmm.
Like on these trade routes that are closing. Well, they have to get on them before they still can.
Yeah, I'm not sure they said exactly where their next stop is.
They didn't, but I just kind of assumed it would be onward to Alderaan.
Yeah.
My guess would be, and only because I'm saying, because they've been pretty good about referencing Star Wars. Sorry, I can't call it A New Hope. We had this discussion last week.
Yes.
I'm betting that with the side trip to Alderaan to drop off Leia and Ben, I'm thinking Dantooine. That's just my thought.
Yeah, that's
I think that would be
good thought.
Too long of a period to be in Dantooine, though. I think the rebels hop more often than that.
Well, it's possible,
You know what I
but I kind of got the impression I kind of think is that Dantooine was kind of the beginning of the Rebel Alliance. That's where they were hiding in the beginning, and I think they were hiding so well that that's why the Empire never did track them down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I can't see it being Dantooine. I could be wrong. You might be right. But I don't think. I think they hop around more often than that. And this is like 10 years being. Like I got the impression that they just left Dantooine when Leia said that.
Well, you see. Now that's the thing. I don't think that. I think that Dantooine. I think that Leia just pulled a name out of the air, one of the first bases, and like they say in A New Hope, we found remains of a hidden rebel base.
Yeah. I guess I
but
always
we
thought
estimate that it has been deserted.
That was a
for
place
some
that was
time.
long abandoned.
Exactly.
Okay, then that would.
See,
that
that's
makes
why I
sense
think Dantooine is kind of the jumping off point for them. That's just my thought. I think that connects up very well.
It's a very good thought. So we will find out.
Well, that being said, I think if these guys don't want to be captured or killed, the first place I would do is I'd be dropping Ben and Leia off somewhere and says, "All right, see ya."
Yeah, you guys are causing us less trouble.
Yeah.
Well, and at the same time, like I think at this point, Obi-Wan wants to get to Tatooine before Smith goes there and starts causing problems.
Well, in that final shot there, we see that shot of Luke asleep in his bed there, and obviously that's sort of telling us that that's what's foremost in Ben's mind at that point, is getting back to watching over Luke.
Yep.
Yeah, and getting back to Tatooine, exactly.
Yeah, with Reva not passing away, she knows.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get back to Reva. She sees this as a perfect opportunity. I don't know how she never had an opportunity before this, but she's going to kill.
Okay,
Vader.
and this is what I want to say is like she waited too long. The whole point, Ben's whole plan was that she was supposed to attack Vader while he was focused on getting to Ben.
Yes.
Yeah.
She waited until Ben was definitely long gone.
And Vader was no longer
out of reach.
Yeah. Had she done that while he was actually force powering getting the ship down, she probably had a better chance.
Yeah. For sure.
And again, and she does it stupid. Like instead of coming up behind him and putting her saber behind him and turning it on, she turns it on like way early.
Mm-hmm. She should have just come up behind him and then turned it on and went right in his back.
Yeah.
But we know that would be the end of Darth Vader or thereabout. So that would not work.
We wouldn't have the Star Wars universe if that would have happened.
Yeah. No, for sure not. Yeah, because Rave is stupid. That's why. as much as I like her character, she has no patience.
How do you really feel?
That was just about as dumb as Bail Organa's message.
Yeah, exactly. What's the poll out there, folks? Bail Organa and his message, or Reva and her attacking style? Who's more foolish? So
I'm sorry, but
between...
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, but that scene where she's sneaking up behind him, I don't know why. I heard the Pink Panther theme behind it in the back of my head. Exactly.
Sam will cut that in now.
As a matter of fact.
A couple of bars. So anyways, that fight between, it wasn't really a fight. It was very one-sided.
Yeah.
Between Reva and Vader. He was just dancing with her. He was playing with her the whole time.
I love that he doesn't even pull out his own lightsaber.
No,
exactly.
Yeah.
He's just using the Force the whole time.
Yeah, he uses hers. I'll take this one.
Yeah, breaks hers in half, and throws one piece at her, almost as as he's going, "Come on, try to make this a little interesting."
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, come on, come at me.
Yeah.
Show me what you got.
Yeah. It was cool to see that spinning blade. I'm not a fan of them with the Rebels. The Inquisitors were using those spinning blades, and I really wasn't a fan of them. But I gotta say, I really liked it.
Yeah, this was cool. Yeah,
it was really cool.
And the fact that he was able to slow it down, that was even cooler.
Yeah. So he stabs her again and calls her a youngling. Makes her feel this short. So she's left to die, and she finds Obi-Wan's cell phone and sees a message from Bail. Use passwords, people. Put passwords on your phones.
Well, the tech was broken, so it's doing exactly what she needs it to do.
Before she found that, the Grand Inquisitor comes back to life.
Yeah.
And he made the statement to her, about being angry and using whatever, and it gives you the will to live.
Like rage gives you a will to live.
It sure did.
Yep.
Well, and on top of that, a number of people have mentioned that his species has two stomachs. So she stabbed him in one of his stomachs.
Interesting.
Okay. And a lot of people are saying, well, the Grand Inquisitor can't die when he died, because we see him later on in Clone Wars. So that answered that question.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we kind of knew he was coming back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he takes his collector pin back, and
he did.
Exactly. Yes.
Very forcefully, he took it back too.
Yeah.
You won't be needing this.
Yeah. I'll take this back, Grand Inquisitor.
So does that mean like this whole time when Vader's been talking to Reva and all that and making her Grand Inquisitor and all of these things, has he just been like hiding in the back somewhere going?
Exactly. Yes. That's exactly
she's
very
putting her nails. Yeah, she's putting her nails in her own coffin here.
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah.
Well, he was in a back to tank somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Getting healed.
Now, so obviously, you don't die in Star Wars. We saw Maul get cut in half, and he survived. We saw Anakin basically left for dead, burned with no limbs.
Turned into a chicken McNugget.
Yeah, exactly. He went from a chicken nugget to Darth Vader. Now, Grand Inquisitor.
But how come Qui-Gon died?
Because the story needed him to.
Yeah. So is Mace dead? Mace Windu? Mace Windu? When he fell out the window after getting stabbed, or was rage going to save him?
When I originally seen that movie, I would say yes. But now, I don't think he is dead.
I'm beginning to think we're going to see Mace somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible, because if you think of the end scene in Rise of Skywalker, where Rey is reaching out to all the Jedi, you hear Mace Windu's voice in amongst all the other Jedi. Mm-hmm. So somehow he's found his way back as a Force projection. But earlier in the film, you hear. Earlier in Revenge of the Sith, you hear Yoda talking about how Qui-Gon has just discovered how to come back as a Force projection.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder, when would Mace Windu, or for that matter, any of the other Jedi that are in that scene, the voices that you hear in that scene, when did they figure out how to become a Force projection if Qui-Gon is sort of the first to do it?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that might actually set up that there is a way that some of these Jedi find their way back through Qui-Gon? Maybe I'm thinking a little too deep here.
The timeline doesn't add up. You're right.
Well, on the timeline too, though, there's a big gap in between what we're watching in Kenobi until Rise of the Skywalker. There's a big time. So if he is back, he could be back right, in this timeline, and he could eventually get killed off again here in the 20, 30, 40 years that goes past by. So
Well, speaking of coming back, what about Palpatine? There's a comeback story for you. The guy gets thrown down a shaft that explodes.
Yeah, right.
3 movies later, he's back.
Yeah.
Somehow. Palpatine return.
Somehow, some way.
Well, and that's another thing. Are we going to see Palpatine anytime soon?
We almost have to
only
at some
one more
point.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only one more episode or another season.
Or next season, yeah.
Yeah. This
But
is
yeah,
true.
you would think. Now, let me ask you: are we going to see Qui-Gon next week?
I think we're at least going to hear his voice by the end of the. I said this from the very first episode.
Yeah.
By the end of this last episode, maybe the last thing of the episode, we're going to hear his voice.
I don't think you're going to see him. I think it's going to be all audio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to actually physically see him. I think he's going to
so?
come back as a Force ghost. I think what we're going to see, Jay kind of alluded to that on the last episode there. I think it's going to be very much like the scene of Luke returning in The Force Awakens. Just the very last shot is going to be like, "Oh, hi, Qui-Gon, how you doing?"
Well, there's been some rumors going around that they changed up this next episode a little bit so they could go with the season 2, because wasn't originally this was the 6 episodes and we're totally done with it. And now there's speculation and rumors going around that there could be another season with Obi-Wan. And I heard, like I said, I heard things that they're saying they changed this episode up so they could have a season 2.
I don't think it's speculation at this point anymore. I think it's pretty much a known
I think it's just a matter of when.
There's going to be a season 2. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we're going to get a season 2.
I really think it's just a matter of when.
Yeah. Yep. So next week is our final episode. This has gone by super quick.
It sure
and
has.
Ken, the voiceover guy, and myself are going to watch it in the theater. So we're
You're so
excited
lucky.
about that.
We are all duly jealous.
Yeah, Canada's getting tossed a bone, and select theaters across Canada are going to be having the final episode. I think it's going to be like the same time in all theaters.
I think so, yeah.
What time is it, actually?
6 p.m. Central.
Okay.
For ours. And I believe it's going to be... In Toronto, they're showing all 6 episodes. Starting with part 1, and then they're going to end. And then afterwards, there's a Q&A. So tune in next week, because Ken and I will be able to tell you all about...
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about this.
How the Q&A went and the theater experience. So something for us to look forward to for the final episode. Any final thoughts, guys? Mission Commander?
It was a good episode in a lot of ways, except for a few people catching the idiot ball.
Yeah. Chris?
I agree with that. There was a few things in it that weren't like really believable, but I gotta say this episode with the flashbacks, the scenery, and just some of the things that happened in this, I think it was masterful. And I am just so sad that season 1 is ending next week already.
Yeah, no kidding.
True.
Jedi Scott.
No, I agree with everything that you guys have been saying. It was a great episode. There was a couple things in there that made you shake your head a little bit, but overall, I liked it. Too bad it's coming to an end.
I think it was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. Too many things that just kind of irked me, like you say, that battle scene at the end should have been just have your jaw drop, but there were some really stupid moments. Just throw the thermal detonator next time. Throw the thermal detonator.
Yeah. Between the Jedi, the stormtrooper costumes not fitting properly, the message from Bail Organa, the thermal detonator usage. There's like, I don't know, when Leia was talking to Lola and she removed the thermal detonator or the restraining bolt, her lips aren't moving, but she's talking. Like that was the entire scene. I mean, yeah, I understand that she's a young actress and it's probably hard to get her to do the lines, perfect every time. She's doing a phenomenal job, but that was entirely voiced over that entire scene. Either when you watch it, her lips are not moving at all. Yeah. I love that they did the flashback scenes in the exact same set that we saw the younglings playing in. I thought that was extremely well done. Overall, I really enjoyed the show. Probably one of my least favorites so far this year. I think it was just I like the story, but there was too many communicating through hyperspace to a restraining bolt, just that type of stuff. I don't know. Anyways, Ken?
Yes?
Take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us your idea for the show, and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. All logos, sounds, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned solely by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be, the ownership of The Solo Show podcast. We hope you'll join us for the next adventure on The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.